create a report on leads that haven't been accessed or engaged with in a period of time. So there's two ways to do this. You can either do a list, which has some advantages, and I'll cover that in another video, or you can do a report. A report's going to give you the basic insight. A list is going to allow you to kind of engage with it a little bit more easily. So we're going to start by clicking our Reports tab from our home page. And again, you may have to use the More icon shown here on the right if your organization is different with your tabs. Once we go ahead and click report, it's going to pull up our recently created reports, but we're going to build a new report. So you're going to go ahead and select new report. We're going to use leads as our report type. And you'll see for me, my recently used report types is only leads, which makes it easy to find. But if you can't find it, on the left there, you can see leads also listed. So either way you want to select it, you can. Once you have that selected, you're going to go ahead and select Start Report. And from the get-go, we're going to go through the outline and we're going to remove some unnecessary columns. So we're going to get rid of lead source, street, rating, lead owner. This is for all cold leads. They haven't been engaged with for some time. We don't really care about deep insight. We just need kind of a superficial list of how many and who is on this list. Once you go ahead and remove those, it's going to gray out the screen and you're going to have the option to refresh your latest edits. I like to refresh things regularly because it'll give you insight on how your report is moving along. Is it getting you the information that you want? And if you wait too long to refresh things, you might have to go back several steps to find out where an error might have occurred. So we're going to go ahead and hit refresh here. And we'll notice that no records are returned. So there's a problem here. First thing we're going to check is the filters. So let's see what filters we have currently. And you'll notice we have my leads. I don't want my leads, I want all leads. I want every lead we have that hasn't been accessed. And you'll also notice the created date is only basically a week prior. So it's everything that's been created this last week. Well, I don't want everything this last week, I want all time. So I want all leads, all time. So for the first filter where it says show me my leads, I'm going to change that to all time. Or excuse me, all leads, excuse me. And then for created date, I'm going to click that and adjust that to, instead of custom, I'm going to change that to all time and I'll hit apply. Again, it's going to give me the option to refresh. And once I hit refresh, you will notice I have a full list here. And that's great. But again, I don't want a full list of all my leads. I want a list of leads that haven't been engaged with in a set period of time. So I'm going to go add a filter, and that filter is going to be called last activity. So in that search bar, you can type activity, you can type last, but what we're looking for is last activities. Once you find that, go ahead and select it. And the first thing it's going to give you is kind of the filter by box, and it's going to have last activity as the field. And then the operator will start out as equal. We don't want equal, we want less than. Because we're going to say, give me all the leads that haven't been contacted in this date or prior to that, or less than that date. So we're going to change the operator to less than. We're going to, instead of picking a standard date, which is the kind of the normal, you'd say, everything before January 1st of this year. That's great, but if I run this report again next year, it's going to be vastly different. And there's going to be a lot of leads that I miss out on. So instead of having a kind of a hard-coded date, I'm going to click that Use Relative Date option. And what that allows me to do is put things that are relative to today. So I can have yesterday, I can have tomorrow, I can have next 30 days, last week. What I'm going to use this last 3 weeks. Typically what I will do is say like last 6 months. But the problem is my database here doesn't have any leads that were created in the last 6 months. So I can't do that. So I'm just for this example, I'm going to put last 3 weeks. But for your organization, I would imagine that last 3 months, last 6 months might be more applicable. So again, we're going to go ahead and put last 3 weeks and hit apply here. And then again, we have that refresh button. And again, I'm a fan of going ahead and refreshing it right away. And we have a shortened list. Okay, this is promising, but we have an issue here. I can't verify when they were last contacted because I don't have that column here. So we're going to go back to the outline because you'll notice we have first name, last name, title, company, email. So I'm going to go back to the outline. And under columns, I'm going to search for last activity. So again, you can type activity, last activity, whatever. What we're looking for is last activity. Once you find it, go ahead and select it. And again, hit that refresh button. And now in our last column, we have when they were last contacted. And you see right around Christmas time, these folks were last contacted. And again, my database is very different than yours. So in many respects, you're probably going to have a longer time frame that you're looking for colder leads. But in this case, I just wanted to use this as an example. So now we have a handful of leads that have been contacted in less 3 weeks or more prior to today's date. And all is good. This gives me a nice overview. If I want, I can go ahead and hit save and run and get the full list. But I'm going to save that, and what we're going to do in the next video is creating a list for the same information and explain why that's the case.